Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. No matter where in the world you are, hope you're having a wonderful Thursday. Taylor, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Always a pleasure, Ramon.
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining in. If you're watching live, this is yet another edition of Open Source Thursdays. And we are so happy to have Taylor from Distribute8 here. If you're not familiar with them, Distribute8 is a organization that helps grassroots organizations ship humanitarian aid where it's needed most. I'm gonna post a link here to their website. I'm going to start right off the bat by saying, if you're ever interested in collaborating, contributing to Distribute8, highly encourage you to contribute to their open collective. Going to be posting a link to that. And what I'm going to do is put up the link here so that everybody can see it. And Taylor, I want to give you the opportunity if you'd like to pitch a little bit about like how much the contributions help and stuff.
Oh, so much. Yeah. So we recently had our annual general meeting, and just to kind of highlight with both the scale and efficiency we're working with, last year from July 2020 to June 2021, we spent 18,000 USD on administrative costs and about 80,000 on shipping costs to move over $2.3 million worth of aid. We started this new metric to better capture the impact that we create. And so that's monthly needs met. So for the first 6 months of this year, we met over 50,000 monthly needs, reaching tons of people in northern France, Greece, and Lebanon. We're also starting up shipments to the Balkans. So we try to keep it really efficient. It's a all volunteer team. We build open source technology, open access infrastructure, and open content knowledge bases to help these community shipments happen and play a facilitation role in them. Definitely, if you can donate, really appreciate it. And there are plenty of other ways to contribute, including by making some commits on our open source code base. So hit me up if you're ever interested in that as well.
Yeah, let me put up your Twitter handle if I may.
Totally.
Let me put up, so that would be borderless dev. I'm totally just like sending people your way. If you ever want to contribute, you can find Taylor here at borderless_dev. I can say from my experience, having been contributing to Distribute8 stuff for a couple of weeks. Is it months now? Could be more than a couple.
Yeah, maybe a month or two at this point.
Yeah. They are incredibly accommodating. They're incredibly inclusive and inviting. And I've been having some of the best open source experiences contributing with them. So it's been super positive. So before we start, because we got a couple stuff to go through today, I wanted to sort of briefly recap what we did last week. Just going to go ahead and share my screen here very briefly and show you all what we worked on. Because I'm still like super amazed at our brilliant CSS work we did.
Really fun. Yeah.
So y'all should be able to see now. I'm going to make it just a touch bigger so that we can see better. What we did was we were working on our region pages to show the shipments, which direction they're going. So if they're incoming, outgoing, or I'm so sorry. I don't know how I always forget the title, the title of the third category. They're called.
We have to make this a meme or something. I mean, it's not an official term or anything. We call them internal transfers, where we help do some matchmaking, and if there's aid on one of the Greek islands that's no longer needed there, or they got too much, we try to find another home for it to help people in that same country, because that just helps balance out the local supply. It means you don't have to ship aid, from a whole different country on an international shipment, which takes more time and money, of course. So definitely start local first. If we can just ship something from an island to an island or back to the mainland in Greece is our example here, let's do that. And then if there's a need for more aid in the region overall, that's when we start planning an international shipment.
Thank you. Here's what I'm doing here is I'm writing myself a little Post-it note. Internal transfer. And that way, I'm not going to forget ever again.
Just don't do that with your passwords, eh?
No. In fact, I am notoriously bad at Post-it notes. I never use them, but that's why when I do, they're super useful. So, yeah, and so what we did last week was we took these categories that we created 2 weeks ago and we added icons for them. And I have to say, I'm super proud of us because we've done such a good job of making it clear which direction they're going just from icons. And we even made these accessible. We also learned how to make these accessible. So if I were to inspect it here, we'd use an ARIA label incoming or an ARIA label for internal transfer, and the icons themselves are hidden. So what this means is that a screen reader will look at this element and be like, and read out internal transfer, which I think is such a good job that we've done. And this stuff matters a lot to me. So I'm very happy that we could do that.
Well, it matters a lot to me too. I mean, accessibility is really important for a wide range of people, right? So
Totally.
We fortunately have tons of retirees and pensioners who are contributing aid to these shipments. You'll get little grandmas getting together with a knitting group, or they'll go down to the aid warehouse and sort out and fold clothes, things like that. And so, it's important that this information is accessible for whatever reason that someone's using the screen reader. I think it's more than just a nice to have. It's really necessary, for our users to be able to do what they need to do on this site, right? And it could be they can't see the screen at all, or they just can't see what that small squiggly truck-looking thing is, not quite sure between the arrows. So this allows them to continue to engage with our work and play the crucial role that they do in the supply chain.
Totally. So yeah, that's what we did last week. So this week, I'm going to pass it back to you, Taylor. We're going to I shouldn't have removed my screen so soon. But what we're going to do in this table is start showing some totals as the bottom row. So we're going to show, for example, the total commercial value, the total weight, the total distance, and the total CO2 in tons for the whole region on that table. And time permitting, also style it a little bit because some of the columns were quite close together, for example.
Yeah, it'd be nice. We've been doing a lot of practical kind of data infrastructure work, pulling this content down from Contentful and running it through the Gatsby GraphQL API, where we access it from there in React. And that's been going great. But it's, function and form, right? So a little bit of styling here, I think, could definitely go a long way.
I still have it here. Yeah, so exactly. It's going to help it make it a little more easier on the eyes when gleaning the data. Gleaning? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good word.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, so I'll just stop sharing my screen. And so today, Taylor, you'll be driving, I'll be navigating. And folks in the chat, if you ever want to join in, if you ever want to chime in and give us some ideas, please always feel free to write these in the chat, and we will display them so that we can see them. And this will be kind of an ensemble programming opportunity, is what we like to do.
You don't have to wait to start contributing, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think, so let me get my screen shared here.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, is that working?
Have a look. So I can see it, but we need to add it to the street. There we go.
Nice. Okay. And I just want to make sure the font size and everything is readable. Let me just open up one of these files we're working on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. If you want to work on the one that for today, I think it's under templates.
Templates, right? The region page. Okay, is that big enough? Should I bump it up a little bit?
I would say, just looking at it on Twitch from my end, I'd say this is a good size. I'd say we can keep it. If anybody in chat would like it a bit bigger, please do let us know.
Totally. Happy to do that. And I think I actually want to start. So we've been doing a great job writing the code and definitely using CodeC to help us with that process. But there are other parts of the development process that we've been skipping out on a little bit. And so this might be a good time. We made some great progress. And we've been working on one main branch continuously. What I've done now is I've merged our work in progress branch into Saga. So Saga is the name of our main branch because it's, tells a story. We're a Swedish organization, a little bit of fun wordplay there. So if I do a git status, you'll see we're on Saga. And I'm actually going to go into GitHub. Ramon, if we could start by writing an issue for what we want to do today, and then we'll make a new branch for it and hopefully get at least a work in progress pull request up by the end of the session.
That sounds amazing.
Cool. So you're driving. What are we doing here?
What we've done in this branch so far is add content to the region listing and to the region page. Yeah, the index, exactly.
Okay.
What else have we done? We've do we want to go in? I guess we can go into specifically what we did. So in the index page, we now display the regions as well as an image for them.
And that's kind of like it's not an icon. Would you say it's an avatar for the region or something like that?
Yeah, it's the map. So that would be a thumbnail, maybe?
Okay, cool.
And in the show view, do we call these show views? No, I guess not. That's my Rails talking. Yeah, template page shows, let's see, the name, the map as a full image, and a table of shipments with icons for ingoing, outgoing, and internal transfer.
So I'm going to say it's describing the category of the shipment.
Yes.
That's what we're trying to do.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's a great description of what we've been working on for this issue, right? And that's super important because in these open source projects, we might have different volunteers who want to contribute. Someone else might be picking this up, right? Picking this issue up or building off of your work. So I think giving that previous context for these pages gives them a good starting point to work off of. And we've described that well. What are we trying to do today? What is that next step for one issue that we can really break down and focus on and kind of take things in bite-sized chunks?
So that would be the display shipment totals in region template. Perfect. Yeah,
cool.
Perfect. So we'll have for the table, in my opinion, we'd have a bottom row that would show in the title, it would have like in bold we'd have totals, and then below each column, each corresponding column have those totals.
Okay, so show the totals for relevant columns as a bottom row in the table.
Yeah.
And do we want to list the relevant columns out here that are totalable, or is that
Yes.
fairly
No.
self-obvious?
No. I think being clear is good here. So that would be total commercial value, total weight, total distance, and total CO2.
And maybe instead of the shipment name for that bit of the totals or something, we can work in number of shipments just to see how many we're
Ah,
doing.
yeah, I like that. That's pretty good.
I think that's a great first step. That fits the format we're already working in, right? So it's more
Mm-hmm.
focused on the mechanics of processing this data rather than the display. But we want to do some display work as well. Maybe as a
Yeah.
second step for this issue, would it make sense to pull those totals out and actually place them above the table, right? Because that's maybe a good introduction to our impact in the region, and would give us a little bit more flexibility with how we display that. For example, we could add icons, above representing kind of what we're showing for commercial value or weight, or we could show additional information that would be hard to fit into the table as it stands. Like if we wanted to show the number of different categories of shipments instead of just the total number of shipments. Here's how many are incoming, outgoing, or internal transfers.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that. And for this, do we want to go into the stylings as well? So for example, cell spacing, alternate row,
Mm,
alternating row colors.
I think definitely, but I almost want to make a new issue for that,
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
Break these out into two different things.
Yep, makes sense.
So I'm going to leave what I'll do is I'll copy the previous work segment here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave that second goal a bit vague. I might call it a reach goal, right? So that's something that we could address when addressing this issue, or maybe we need some design direction, or additional
Yeah,
work or thought into how to do this. We could kind of pull that reach goal out and make it its own separate issue. So let me go ahead and submit this one. And then let's
cool.
add a couple of styling things to work on quickly and jump into it.
Fantastic. And did I understand correctly? You merged already the pull request into Saga.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
already took care of that, just merging it in with my
great.
super duper admin powers. So we could start fresh with a new branch.
Perfect. Thank
Make
you.
one more issue here. So this will be style the region template, region. Okay. So we have our previous work, and then just to highlight what we're trying to accomplish with this issue, you had some great ideas there. So more spacing between the columns.
Cell spacing, bold column. Oh no, they're already bold. Never mind. I was gonna say bold column titles, but that's already done. Alternate alternating row background colors. That's a personal preference. I like them.
Yeah,
um,
definitely good.
do we want hover? Nah, that's too much.
I think
Um,
that's too much. Yeah. I'd say
no, I think
yes if there was an interactive element on the rows. So like if you
yeah,
could click them or interact them, then that hover is a good indicator. But I
yeah,
think if
that
you
makes
could, it
sense.
might be confusing. Yeah. Um, Okay, we could just start with this. And the nice
I
thing
think
is
so.
with issues, if we want to do more, we can always document that we've done more, or we could add them as additional goals or edit the description, right?
Perfect.
Cool.
Shall we? Shall we then? I don't know if y'all do this for this project. Shall we assign this issue?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to show who's working on it. So it's less about assigning the issues as in you have to do this and more of like
Yeah.
hey, I'm interested in this one. I'm working about it. I have been working on it. Talk to me if you want to pick it up. So I'll go ahead and assign it to you. Or do you want to
Perfect.
do one each? Okay,
Oh, it's all good. Perfect.
there we go. And I wonder if we have labels. So this is an enhancement.
Mm-hmm.
Um, cool. Let me do the same for the other
Ah,
one real quick.
nice. I'm getting the notifications.
There we go. Good async communication during our synchronous stream.
Perfect.
So I know that sometimes this project maintenance sort of work is not the most exciting thing to do, but it's super important. Like I can't emphasize to folks who are considering starting their own open source project. I do more of this than coding, but it allows everyone else to contribute in a good way and for us to keep track of our progress and actually know what's being worked on, what's ready to go, where folks might need help, right?
Yeah.
So definitely something that I'm trying to improve our processes around always. And even though it's not coding, it's still a big part of open source.
Yeah, and in the long run, having these processes pays off and makes the actual coding a lot smoother. So
Exactly.
it's definitely worthwhile. Um, yeah, cool. Then let's do some of this. So we need a new branch.
Hmm. So this is
So
interesting. Maybe a good point of suggestion from the audience. We want to start with the first issue for displaying the shipment totals on the region template pages. It's issue number 24. Does anyone have any preferences or suggestions on branch naming conventions?
yes, Chad, do please feel free to chime in. Eager to hear what folks think. Um, myself, I tend to go with something like feature slash so right, check out new branch, and I like to call it something like feature slash 24 for the issue number, and then dash, and then a brief dasherized can dash case description. So region page shipment totals.
Something like
Perfect.
that?
Yeah,
Okay. Makes
that's
sense
my
to me.
preference. If anybody else has one, like, I'm eager to hear it.
You know what I really like about this? It encodes the information very efficiently. You kind of have that human level description. You can see the GitHub issue number.
Mm-hmm.
And especially because we're trying to do conventional commits, we know
Yeah,
that this is a feature branch. So when we do commits, we're working on a feature instead of, say, a bug fix or something else, right?
exactly.
Cool. Let's make it happen. Okay.
So great. Now we're on that branch, and we can start. We can now get to work um, on our feature. So I think the first thing we want to do is get a grasp of what the information is that we want to sum up.
Hmm.
Would it
So we
make
can,
sense?
oh, go for it.
I was going to recommend. Shall we make a recording with CodeC and see what that data is and how we can sum it up?
Totally. Yeah, I just want to point out you can see some of the structure here, but as
Yeah.
we've discovered, data is not a perfect thing. There might be some fields missing in different shipments or
Yeah, for
whatnot,
sure.
and so being able to view that actually live in CodeC is super helpful. So I believe I'm signed on. Here we go.
Great.
That's the right page, and I'll just start a new recording and then just give the page a refresh.
Perfect.
There we go. And CodeC should have recorded all of that. It'll take me to my library. And I think this is really cool. Since we're making an issue, let's go ahead and title this DA landing slash 24 to keep it
Great.
related, right? Um, and I want to go ahead and turn the sharing on to public. And I'm going to copy this link over to that issue and, just call it like the starting point. So this shows the relevant parts of the code base that we're working on. It'll kind of show you which files get executed in what order, and a good example of the data that we're working on as well. So just maybe I'll even edit that into the description.
Oh yeah, good call.
Yeah.
I think you want to press the 3-dot menu
Oh,
in the
there we
header
go.
of the, yeah.
Too many edit buttons, right?
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. And we did the whole, previous work, but this CodeC really shows people at kind of a code and data level what that context is, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so back to the CodeC. Where are we going here, Ramon?
So let's see. We've rendered the shipment category icon, simple region page. I think we want to. Oh, that's nice. Now we see our category icons, one for each of them. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Let's scroll up to region page template. Let's click there, and that should take us to our data, and that's the thing we want to inspect because we've got. Oh no, hold on, because we want to do this for all of our shipments. So if we scroll down a little bit, in line, let's see, where do we interact with? All shipments, of course. So
Right.
there in the inspector, we've got exactly. That's going to be all of the. These are going to be all of the shipments that we display in our table.
Mm-hmm. And we get to kind of pull the shipment data from a couple of different sources and then merge those together and remove the duplicates. So this is the canonical list of unique shipments, right?
Yeah, I like that canonical list. I think that's perfect. Yeah, and then what we can do is use CodeC to expand each of these and take a look. Let's have a look at one of them there. There we can see each one has a total CO2, a total commercial value, a total distance, and a total weight. So these are the 4 totals that we're going to want to total, that we're going to want to sum up.
Yeah. Something interesting. We could also look at number of drop-offs and number of pickups, or number of subregions the aid ended up going to. Now, I'm not sure with subregions if all of that data is 100% entered or accurate. And maybe for number of drop-offs and pickups, instead of the total, that might be more interesting as, say, the average per shipment, right?
Yeah.
I could even see some of that with the commercial value or CO2, kind of what's the average shipment look like, and then what's the total impact. So we got to stay focused on our issue, but that's really interesting to see this data, be inspired by it, right?
Totally, and I mean, nothing is stopping us from after this, writing up those issues and displaying and putting them up for folks to be able to contribute should they like to.
Exactly. Can I just make a comment here so we don't lose the thought, right? Because I don't want to go back to GitHub and make a new issue or whatever right now. I'm in my flow, but I don't necessarily want to forget. So if we just go here and I want to add a link to the code. So that would be...
You can do that at the top right of this. There's a little checkbox there.
There we go. There we go. Okay.
And you click on Save Links.
Save links.
Perfect.
Okay. And let's call this like inspiration. Compute averages. Create a new issue to compute averages. Totals.
Perfect.
There we go. That took like 2 seconds. Brilliant. Automatically saves. It's accessible in the CodeC, which you can link to from GitHub. And, I think that doesn't interrupt our flow. It's like right here based on what we're looking at. Let's move on to the next thing.
Perfect. Yeah. So what we'll need now is, now we know that for each one of them, we can grab these totals And what we would want to do next is to essentially sum them up.
Right on. So just looking at the code, and again, this is I keep saying, oh my gosh, Codesy can do all of this stuff for us because writing code is expensive, right? Like
Yeah.
it takes time. Yet you can go get a lot of it out there, but is it architected right? Is it introducing bugs? I like to spend as much time as possible planning, and that might be the logistician in me. But I've just seen, whether it's our shipments or our code bases, the more we can do to figure out how things work ahead of time, the easier it'll be and the safer it'll be when we're actually, running the shipment or writing the code. So what's interesting here for these totals, we could do, for example, what? How would you approach this, Ramon?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it leading up to today. And so what I've been thinking is just so we the at least the JavaScript way we can do that is to continue to use reduce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reduce function, what we can do is um, call um, call reduce on our all shipments variable, and then sum up, use the accumulator, which would be a value, a number,
Mm-hmm.
and the shipment, which would be a shipment, and then just add up those total CO2s. If the total, for example, of CO2, and if the CO2 is nil, we add 0. Now that would be a first step. Then the second thing that occurs to me is we can actually use as an accumulator not just the value for one of these values, but maybe an object, a totals object, where we add, for example, total CO2, total commercial value, total distance, total weight for all of these. What do you think?
I think that makes perfect sense. I really like kind of this functional approach with reduce instead of different while loops. I think it makes for easier refactoring later on. And yeah, I love how you've broken it down into 2 steps. So just so the audience can see here, this is an example of our reduce function. So we're passing in in this case, an array, and we're looking at each shipment. And then if it meets the condition, we're adding the shipment to that accumulator, which is a list of our canonical shipments. What Ramon's suggesting, instead, we start off with this as a number, and instead of adding the shipment to an array, we add something like the CO2 value to that number. We can get that working as a first step. Then we can pass in say a JavaScript object of numbers like total CO2 commercial value and do all the sum in a single function, which should be really easy to refactor out in the future if we wanted to make that more of a utility function that's applied to different parts of the code base. For example, if we need to do these sorts of calculations on other pages in addition to the regions page.
For sure.
Cool. Okay, should we dive in, or do we want to take a look at how the reduce function kind of iterates over this stuff? Up to you. I know we've gone through this once or twice before.
I always love looking at it. It's really like I love the way that we can look at each iteration. So what we're looking here is at the reduce loop itself, and Codesy sort of like catches each of those and displays them for us so that we can see, and we can step through the code and see, okay, for example, this one isn't in, this one isn't in. Like if we go through each of them, let's see.
There we go.
Check it out.
Yep. So you see there's 3 shipments that we've added to the accumulator. And then the next one is a duplicate. So it's not added. And you can see right here in Codesy, if it doesn't have the shipment already, that's false, right? And then it's not running this code. So it's very obvious, is it a bug? Is it the data? What's going on? This sort of functionality really lets you get down and understand how that execution works.
Yeah, so we'll be doing kind of the same thing now. We'll be calling a reduce, but now we're gonna do that. Yeah, let's add a new line in here, and let's call this const totals. Let's call it totals for now, or maybe shipment totals. Now,
let's just call it totals for now. We can
Yeah.
work on some refactoring towards the end.
Sounds good. So let's call all shipments dot reduce, and that will take two. This reduce will take two parameters. One will be totals. Yeah, accumulator. That makes more sense. Yeah,
No,
no,
we're starting with total CO2, right?
no, because we're gonna do the big object right away.
Oh, okay. Okay, we can jump into that. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, sorry,
So,
I thought it.
no, it's all good. This is why we did the planning, and now we know what we're going for. We might as well just go for it, right?
Yeah. Now
So I
this
just
will
want to make
be
it clear. This is the problem I have with reduce functions. You have the accumulator, which is what you're building up, but then you have this const totals here. And I think if we name them the same, it's
yeah.
a bit confusing. So should we
Let's.
maybe just stick to convention and do it as the accumulator, or is
I
there another
agree.
name?
No, I agree 100%. Let's call it accumulator, and this will be an array of any as well.
Should we make it an object? I guess we'd have to define the parameters there
You're
if we do.
absolutely right. It's an object.
Okay.
It is indeed an object. So can we? But we need to define the type of that object, right? Or does that?
Mhm. I think we can make a new interface here. So this is
Oh,
a
let's do that.
TypeScript feature. We just define an interface called, what should we call it? Totals.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep. Because this works for both the overall totals and the accumulator since they share the same data shape, right? And so what are our parameters? We have CO2, and that's going to be an int. Not internal.
I think that's number. I think that's number. I could be wrong.
Oh,
Capital.
yep, there we go.
No, good.
What else? There's commercial value, right?
Yep. Then we've got weight and distance. Those are our four. I like this.
Sounds good. And maybe let's just add shipments or shipments count. What do you think there?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Size? No, that doesn't make sense. Shipments count is good. I think it's descriptive.
Okay, so
Cool.
we now have this new interface, and we can just say that totals is a type of totals, and the accumulator is a type of totals.
Nice.
Well,
Ah,
yeah.
that's so. I love that. That's so exciting. Cool. And then the second parameter here will be a shipment, which is a type of any.
Yeah.
And that we can, then we'll define a function. So this will be, let's start with the CO2.
Mm-hmm.
So accumulator dot CO2 is equals to, or can you do plus equals in TypeScript?
Oh, I don't know. That would be fun.
Let's give it a try.
Why not?
CO2. Oops.
Okay.
So that's not quite right because it's shipment total CO2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, different parameter name, right?
Yeah. Then we can do.
I forget? I think we had this problem last time.
Yeah, let's
in
have
the
a
data in Contentful. I think we named it C. Okay, yeah, okay, that's right. It's with the number 02 instead of proper with the O2. I'm just confusing myself.
All good, all good. Good call. Yeah, total CO2, exactly. Then we can do the same for accumulator dot commercial value plus equals shipment dot total commercial value. Brilliant. Accumulator dot wait, plus equals. I do hope the plus equals works.
We'll see. It's just some copy and paste if it doesn't.
Yeah. It's not a big deal.
Um,
And then distance. Total distance, yeah. And then the accumulator dot, what do we call it? Shipments count?
Yep.
Would
And
be
it'll pop up right here in the IDE because we've defined
nice.
that interface. They're not for the shipment because it's a type any right now. It's just plus equals 1, right?
Correct. So almost done. The last thing we need to do is define. No, I don't think. Do we need to return?
I think we need to return the accumulator. We do in the.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Now what we need to do is after the function, so let's add a comma after the closing curly brace and define the starting state of our accumulator.
Which
Now,
just right, yeah. So it's
this
the
needs
same parameters names with 0 for them.
Correct.
Okay. Do you need commas in TypeScript for properties lists like this?
I think so, yes. I would say so.
Okay, that should do
Perfect.
it.
Perfect. And so what we can do now, as is record a code C and see if we got one, if we got that working.
Just test it right away while we're still working on the function part rather than the display part, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so start a new code C running in verbose mode. And then I'm going to refresh.
Nice. That didn't crash. I'm happy about that.
Ooh, didn't crash.
You know, that whole thing, like how when it works on the first try, that's the scariest part.
Yep. And let's keep on naming these and linking them in. So we're just going to call this DA 24. I'll give it, so rather than maybe starting point, let's see, like totals calculation or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we'll just go ahead and make it public. Yeah, I guess maybe we should have looked to see if the code works first, but
I mean, it's a work in progress part.
Exactly.
So let's click
page.
there. So if we scroll down, there's our totals.
Okay, it looks like it's working.
Yeah,
This is interesting. The CO2, that's got to be some float rounding or something right there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's okay. We can round that off on the display side, but everything else seems good.
Yeah, not too bad for a first try, huh?
Yeah. Now the question: do these numbers make sense, or are we just adding up a bunch of junk and mix something up there? You want to step through and just see how the accumulator builds. This is the first one, so we should expect the return value here to equal the total weight and everything here, right?
Wow. Of course.
2.39, 2000, 14, 2504, and
that's cool.
200,000. Yeah. I am seeing everything I'd expect to see. Should we just take one more step and make sure it's all in line? So here we have 0.28. So that was 2.39 before. This one is only 0.28. So 0.28 plus 2.67. No, that's the total. Plus 2.39 is 2.67.
Just gonna put on a
We
little
have,
celebration here from Grayson.
yeah, there we go. We have 200,000. This value was 3,000, so
This
that
is so
makes
cool.
sense. I forget what the weight was before, but all of this seems to be in line with what I'd expect, and the shipment count is too. I think we're good here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm super happy. I'm very happy that we also did it in a very TypeScripty way.
Yeah, I would make a feature request for CodeC. So this is interesting because we used the plus equals, we're only seeing the new accumulator value.
Mm.
If we did accumulator CO2 equals accumulator CO2 plus shipment total, I think we would see the second parameter in that addition. So tricky language feature there. It's interesting to see how that interacts with CodeC.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered how to best go about that. But yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Cool. So I've just made a note of that. And yeah, let's start displaying this then. We
Okay.
still need let's start by adding that row we said to the bottom. Is that right? First.
Yeah.
Or do we want to add it to the top right away?
Maybe the top, maybe as a header here, right? Because this is kind of header summary information.
Oh.
Would adding a second header row to the top make sense?
Can you have two header rows? I have no idea.
I think so. I think you can have as many header rows as.
That does make sense.
Okay, so I'm just going to copy this to get the right number of everything. And what we can do here is we'll call this totals. So category, we don't have a total for that.
Nope.
Date delivered, we also don't have a total for that. The commercial value we do, so we'll want something there, and for the weight, distance, and CO2, right? And that would just be our totals parameters. We can just pop that in right here.
Exactly. So we can call totals.CO2. No, commercial value. Thank you.
Commercial value, weight, distance, CO2. Of course, as soon as I said it, I forgot and I had to go look again.
Perfect.
Okay.
Where did you want to display the count?
That's a great question. I was initially thinking kind of in the title field, but we don't have like a number of shipments here. So
I have an
maybe
idea.
let's just get, oh, go for it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go for it.
Scroll up, maybe on line 86, instead of saying all shipments, maybe we can be like count shipments.
Oh, that's so good. I love it. So nice.
Awesome.
Okay. Ready for another CodeC?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And refresh. While that's loading, I'm just going to go ahead and grab our title here.
Nice.
And this is
totals display. Yeah.
Totals. Sweet.
Perfect.
I'll go ahead and make that public just so we can easily add it later.
Great.
And maybe before diving into the CodeC.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah.
Let's do it. 13 shipments.
Boom. There we go.
Nice. Okay. This looks great. This looks great. Like there we can see. I would love it if we could align the values. I think because they're a header, they're by default
center aligned.
But that's not a problem because we can style it with Tailwind.
Mm-hmm. There's got to be an easy Tailwind for that. Do you want to look it up real quick and we'll just
let's do that. Let's do that. Tailwind left align.
CodeSuite can tell you a lot, but it can't tell you if your stuff should be aligned left or right. I think you got to look at both, right?
Yeah. So I don't know what level. Let's try it at the row level. The class will be text-align. Text-left. Yeah.
Okay.
That should in theory be it.
Well, let's try that. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, looks good. The last thing to do would be to fix our rounding issue.
Right, and I was thinking for the display with these numbers as well, if we could get commas, at the thousand mark. Yeah, I don't know if there's an easy CSS fix for that, or if we have to do some string wrangling.
CSS, commas. Chad, if you have an idea, please do feel free to chime in as well. So it looks like we got our CSS tricks article.
Okay.
Which is, all right. One is the JavaScript way. Looks like there's a JavaScript way to do this. That's not super helpful. No, it looks like the best way to do this is going to be some regular expressions.
Fun times.
Oh, hold on. INTL. Here, I'm gonna post that in the chat here. I don't know if this works, but we can give it a try. This is meant to be 2 lines. I don't know if you can see. Oh no, you can't, of course. So let's go to how do we best do this? Let's try it for the commercial value first, right? Line 102.
102.
Yeah. Let's surround that in parentheses, regular parentheses. Yeah. And then type in at the beginning there. Yeah. Just where your mouse is. New. INTL. L dot. Number format.
Okay.
Then open bracket. Not a curly brace, but a normal, a regular bracket.
I know what's a regular bracket, like this one.
Sorry, the round one. Like the one you're exactly. Sorry.
Yeah. No
and a string. Let's add a string. EN-US.
Okay.
US. The US is capitalized.
Of
Perfect. Let's close that bracket. Now let's take that same the whole new INTL number format EN-US. Let's close that in bracket. Oh no, wait, sorry. Just let's try adding a dot where your cursor is. And now we write format there. And that, in theory, should work.
That looks super cool. So it seems to me, this newfangled JavaScript magic, we're creating a new international number format scoped to this locale, EN-US, and then using that to format the number.
Yes. Liz writes, "Yay, it's my fave dynamic duo."
Oh, what? Shout out to Liz. That's great. Okay.
Hey there. Hey, look at that. It worked.
It works great. So
yeah.
I guess over the years, since 2019, we've shipped $2.5 million of aid to Greece, which is awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Seeing that visualized there is pretty magical.
Yeah, for sure. I love this. Okay, so I would say, should we just quickly apply this everywhere? What's the best way? Because I want this for all of the numbers. Does it make sense to, I guess this is pretty concise as a function, and it's kind of a view thing, right? We're formatting the number for the view. So should we just keep doing it inline like this, or is there a better way to do that?
maybe we can add a little function that we call it format number.
Yeah.
We give it a number and it returns us this.
Yeah, it sounds good. Or we could maybe take this first bit. I like the format number though. That seems like a great little utility function. I
Yeah.
might just throw it in. Oh, we have a format already. So let's take a look at some of these. So we have some different format functions in here. I'll just throw it in the top for now. Export function format number.
And it'll be
And
number.
number.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And then
Perfect. Oh yeah, return, of course. What's going on here?
format.
Number bigot string gave the following error. It's
Oh,
not
I think it's
assignable.
lowercase. It's is it a lowercase? Sweet.
Nice.
Okay.
I like that it doesn't confuse the type and the variable name. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Super helpful.
Nice. So now we have to go. Why are we getting some errors now?
What, from up here?
Yeah.
Oh, I think those were always there. Sometimes with these, yeah, it's not scanning the file tree or something.
Gotcha.
So we have to go back to our regions pages and import this. So import format number from, and where is that? We're in templates, so we got to go back to source and then into utils. So /utils/format.
Amazing.
It looks like that works. And then down here, we can just consistently call that.
That is nice.
Sweet. So this gives us a more concise and consistent way of doing this formatting. It is kind of a view function, so I like that we're not necessarily adjusting this data at, say, the totals accumulator level, because that still allows us to pull out those calculations into a different module. And if we want to make changes to how the formatting works or expand the scope of this, like maybe rounding that CO2 calculation could happen in format number as well.
For sure. And now we can do it with the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. But I could be wrong, but I think if you hold down Control and click on each line, you can add cursors. Might be Alt. If you click on each line now, yeah. Oh, I don't know what you did there, but you wanted to press paste. Oh, that works too. I love this feature in VS Code.
But then you have to go to the end and do it on the same side. I'm sure there's a keyboard shortcut to like skip to the end of the next symbol or something like that.
Yeah. True. Cool. Looks like we got a syntax error. Oh, we didn't close in 103, we didn't close the curly brace. Line 103. There.
Over it or something. So this is in format, so maybe, yeah, there is an issue there with types, API types. How did why did that just pop up though? Because we didn't mess with anything there, right?
Yeah, we didn't. All we did was add that function. Shall we? Did you cut it or paste it or something?
Oh yeah, I just kind of undid it. I was trying to see if I,
maybe we can undo all the way and see if something changes. Or would it perhaps make sense to just try and rerun the compilation?
Yeah, it's usually my go-to here if we just rebuild the environment sometimes. So it's easy. It's yarn dev.
Fingers crossed.
Okay.
A lot goes into this.
A lot, yeah. It's gotta pull down the data from Contentful too to kind of refresh it. But we are almost there. Okay, still getting that error. Types, API
Workspace
type.
SRC utils.
Just take a real quick look and get diff src slash utils slash format ts. Make this a bit bigger. So the only thing we did here was we just added
This function,
this
yeah.
export. Yeah. The only thing, and it's having an issue with types, API types, and so it looks like there isn't an API types. Did this get renamed, or what might have happened to this?
Well, that's odd.
Yeah, it's weird that it was working before too, until we touched something in the tree. So group type, maybe shipment. So I think a lot of these are from possibly the DA shipment tracker projects that I copied some code from. Let me just see if I can get this resolved real quick if we have
Sounds
that
good.
there. No.
Doesn't look like it.
So go back one and then types, API types. Well, that is strange because that file doesn't exist here either. Is it maybe in the backend or something? I have no idea what's going on. I don't know how that worked before, why it's not working now.
That's super odd.
Yeah.
Shall we
Let's
just
just
because we're
remove the
running out of time?
dependence. Yeah, let's just
Yeah.
remove dependence on format TS. So we've also learned that your code can have ghosts today. This might be a great issue if anyone who also fancies themselves a member of the Ghostbusters wants to jump in and contribute to the base. And we'll just add the function straight to the region page template here at the top.
Looks like, hold up, looks like more stuff is complaint. Can you scroll up real quick? What's going on?
Format number is not going to be happy now.
Yeah, so we should remove that. But what about this? What if we git check out the utils folder just to be on the safe side?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, hit the wrong keyboard key there. So I'm used to my terminal. I work with Sublime Text, and so I'm used to my terminal like tabbing over to it.
We're good.
I think we're good. Let's just
go refresh the page.
Yeah, I think it's good. There we go. Yay! We have nice nice columns.
We formatted the date.
Oh, that's pretty funny actually. Not all numbers are the same, huh?
Yep.
Right. Yep.
That could be an international formatting we may want to do later.
Yeah, that might be interesting with TypeScript. I wonder if we can have function overloads where if we pass it, say, a number versus a date, it handles it differently. That was a lot of fun working in Elixir where you could have, the same function name with different data parameters or like type parameters, and it would just execute the right one automatically based on those function signatures.
I see here Veep Prevails just joined us. Hey there. Sorry, you're catching us at the end of the tail end of the stream, but we'll be back again. We had to start an hour earlier today because I have to run shortly.
Oh, this is really cool too. It did round the
Oh, it did fix that. Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
And check it out. It's even displaying zeros for the last shipment that we added, the outgoing one, because they were blank before, but because our totals are, because we're formatting a nil value
as a number.
V Prevail says the page looks great. Thank you. Couldn't have done it without your help, by the way. Yeah.
I think this is a great stopping point. We got the totals. We did some formatting here. We got some good ideas to kind of continue that formatting issue, and we could always go after the reach goal. But I really liked your solution. All the totals have kind of the right, column here, and then we just pulled out the total number of shipments to the title instead of all shipments. It's actually, this is how many shipments.
No, this is fantastic because this is a built-in JavaScript engine feature, and you're looking at this on Firefox. Is that right?
I'm on Chrome right now.
I'm just curious. Let me take a look at Firefox.
Totally, and you can just paste this link right here. Everyone can check it out in their favorite browser. I can't promise it'll work in IE6, but
we'll make an issue for that. No, but I'm happy to say on Firefox it looks fantastic.
Awesome.
So just as good. Nice.
Okay.
Cool. So should
we get this committed, push a new branch, and show some progress on the issue?
Yeah, let's do it. So we'll git add src.
Oh,
perfect. Thank you. So.
Okay. So that looks correct. And for the commit message,
this is a feature. Display and display totals, format values.
And it's on the region template page.
Yes, in the region template page.
Cool. And how should we, because we've been making progress on an issue, I guess that's captured in the branch name already. So we don't really need to put the issue number in every commit because that should be available through the branch history, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect.
Okay.
So we can git push, but we can't just git push. We need to git push origin because this is a new branch. So
set the upstream here.
Oh yeah, that works. I usually just.
Oh, tell me how you do it. I'm curious.
Oh yeah, sure. It's just git push origin, and then feature, and then the name of the branch.
Oh, okay. That's even easier. Sweet. So we have our.
That's the shipment tracker.
Yeah.
So we have
we have a new branch. Let's go ahead and make a work in progress PR.
Perfect.
Want
to compare feature /24.
There we go.
We can create a pull request.
So, and
for the description, I like to add something like, or for the title, region page table formatting.
Region page shipments.
Yeah.
Goals. Yeah. And then we should just tag in the issue, right? So
yeah. So if we try hashtag 24. Yep. Perfect.
Cool. Great. I think that should be good for now. The one thing I might add here is progress.
The code C?
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, so we
Let's
can
do it.
show, we already made these public, so this was like maybe our starting state. This one is the totals calculations.
Great.
And this one was close enough to the end there to display the totals. So I'm not going to make a news code C. And then I might say next up, wanted to evaluate additional ways to display the totals.
Yeah.
And maybe some slight number formatting. I just want to dive in a little bit to that number format when we pick it up, since that was so cool.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. If we can pick up the.
Oh, sorry, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, like, even if we can pick up the browser region, we could even like let the browser do the formatting in a way that works best for the viewer, no matter where they're connecting from. Because I think, for example, for German formatting, instead of commas they use dots, stuff like this.
Yeah.
So if we can infer that, yeah, would be fun.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea here. So even though you're assigned the issue, we're working it together. I'll say that I'm the reviewer. Oh, it won't let me. So Ramon, you are also going to be the reviewer here.
Of course, because you opened the PR.
Yeah, that's fine. Maybe I can assign myself here so it's clear that we're both working on this together. And this is definitely an enhancement PR. It's weird that the issues didn't get linked. Yeah, so maybe I'll link these two issues there.
Perfect.
And we're good to go. I'm not going to worry about the CI at all. It is a bit finicky. But
we'll figure it out.
Documented things well. And if anyone in the audience wants to jump in, hit me up.
Please.
You should feel free to pick it up from here. Until then, we'll be around next week, right?
And I'm putting a little link there again to the distributed open collective. If you can contribute but can't contribute open source but can contribute some funds, or know somebody who could, like, please feel free to do that. It's all very much appreciated. And thank you all for joining. I love doing this. Is so much fun, and I'm so happy we can do it every week. So yeah, thanks everybody, and have a great rest of the week. And take care, Taylor.
You too, Ramon. Until next time, y'all.
Bye, everybody.